Good morning, my regular Gov and AP people. This is Giles, Demographics Video Lesson 4. We're going to finish up on turnout today, and then the next lesson we're going to talk about voting behavior, how people vote, Democrat, Republican. We talk about voter ideology, but now we're going to finish up turnout. Let me start my clock. Okay. All right, so we left off. 26th Amendment gave you the right to vote. My speech on why you guys should vote. Remember last lesson we talked about how young people, how young people don't vote, particularly in midterms. They just evaporate in midterm elections. Young people their knowledge about politics and their interest in following politics has dropped off. We talked about the media and the role media plays in that, plays in everybody having less knowledge about politics, but particularly young people. Okay, look, you guys aren't here in my class for me to ask you about this, but what most of you say is, I really don't vote because, I just don't feel comfortable voting. I don't feel like I have enough information. I don't feel like I have the right to vote. Because I'm not making an intelligent decision. The secret is this: old people don't know anything more than you do when they go vote. In fact, the vast majority of them do what's called ticket voting. What's ticket voting? If they're a Republican, what do? They go in and Republican, 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 Republican. Democrats, Democrat, 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 Democrat. Is that wrong? Is that immoral? No, it's rational. It's rational to ticket vote. That at least means something. So you look, even if you're going to go ticket vote, vote. Don't hold yourself out of the process because you feel like you don't know enough to make an intelligent decision. Because old people are voting with less information than you might even have. All right? Okay, so young people don't vote, who gets hurt? Well, the obvious answer, number one, is you guys, right? You guys get hurt. And interestingly, who else gets hurt? Well, the Democrats. Democrats get hurt. Let's look at the data. All right. Okay, boy, here's an example of you guys getting hurt by not voting. Higher education. You guys understand that the U of A, ASU, and NAU, they are public universities. They are paid for by taxpayer dollars, all right? Do we have enough money? Do we have enough money to have tuition be very low or almost free? We are the richest country in the world. If you don't believe me, look up per capita GDP. GDP is gross domestic product. We are about 6th or 7th. The 6 countries ahead of us don't really exist. Liechtenstein, a small tax haven. Ireland, a country that where corporations pay no taxes, so it looks like they have a lot of money. Qatar, sitting on a sea of oil, no population. Norway, sitting on a sea of oil, no population. For a large, diverse, real country, we are the richest country in the world. We have a gross domestic product about the same size as China's, and we have 1/4 the people. China's gross domestic product is about the same as Mexico's per capita. All right, we are rich. All right, we are rich. So, is this true? Do politicians pay attention to who votes? If you are a politician, would you pay attention to who votes? Well, what happened? Okay, you guys, I know you were just, 6 or 7 years old, but the Great Recession hits. The Great Recession hits, publicly funded universities. What happens to the state of Arizona? What happens to tax revenues in a giant recession? Well, the number one source of taxes for the state of Arizona is sales tax. Well, what happens? People quit buying anything. When your house goes down from $250,000 to $100,000 in value, when you get fired, you don't go buy a car, you don't buy a refrigerator, you don't buy a pair of tennis shoes. Sales tax plummets. Second source of revenue is property taxes. Property values plummet. So Arizona gets starved for cash. Arizona has some tough decisions to make. Who are they going to screw over? Old people or young people? So what happened? Well, so what does Arizona do? Arizona cuts more from higher education between 2008 and 2014 than any other state. Now, in some things we're last. In this one, we're first. Isn't that cool? All right, so let's go. Here is a report from a think tank in Washington. Where is my mouse? Why is my mouse not operating? Do I have my right mouse? Hold on. What's going on? There we go. I got it. All right. Let's see. Where are we at? We are right here. Okay. So, this is how much money that by percentage states cut from their state universities, in our case U of A, ASU, NAU, as a result of the Great Recession. And Arizona cut tuition payments, I'm sorry, cut payments from the state to the U of A, ASU, and NAU by 48%. Now, did U of A, ASU, and NAU say, oh, we're going to drop our tuition? Of course they didn't. So who made up the difference? You guys made up the difference. Now, here's the rest of the states. By the way, Alaska and North Dakota had oil money, so they increased their funding to colleges and universities. But that's something to be proud of, right? Why did that happen? Who votes in Arizona? Look, we live in Prescott. We see a bunch of people from California moving here. That's not what's happening statewide. What's happening statewide is, you can't see my map, but people from the Midwest, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, Indiana, all those people move here as old people because, well, it's nice and warm here. They move here, their attitude is, we paid taxes back in Indiana, in Minnesota, for schools and educated our children our whole lives. We don't want to pay taxes for schools anymore, so we are not going to pay for schools. Arizona is every year 48th, 49th, 50th in school funding. Is Arizona the poorest state in the country? We are not. We're in the bottom half. We're about like 30 or so. So we've got money here. Why isn't it spent on education? Why isn't it spent on you guys, young people? Well, it's because old people vote. Old people vote. Oh, by the way, if you have some tissue around, get ready, because I'm going to make you cry, all right? Because I'm going to tell you what I paid for tuition at U of A in 1978. And I paid $280. $280 tuition. You know how I know? I went to my parents because I got a tuition waiver. By the way, when I started teaching here in 2010, if you exceeded on all three of your aims, guess what you got? On all three of your, now it's the AZ merit test. If you exceeded on, you got free tuition for all 4 years at U of A, ASU, or NAU. That's gone, right? I had free tuition because I had good grades for my for freshman year. I went to my lower middle class parents and said, hey, I worked hard, I saved you that tuition, you should pay it to me. And they said, yes. All right. I don't want to spend time on it, and I have a link for this in Google Classroom. I have it right here, tuition calculator. Go in and calculate tuition at the University of Arizona for an undergraduate degree and check out how much it is for 4 years. It is over $50,000. That is insane. Does it have to be that way? Are we the richest country in the world? Is it just a matter of priorities with the people down in Phoenix that make Arizona state laws deciding what tax rates are and saying we're going to screw over young people because they are not voters. You guys know we have a constitution, right? Arizona has a state constitution. Well, this is Section 6 of our Arizona state constitution. The university, at that time it was only U of A, all right? Since then we have ASU and NAU. The university and all other state educational institutions shall be open to students of both sexes, and the instruction furnished shall be as nearly free as possible. As nearly free as possible. Apparently, $50,000 is nearly free, according to the Arizona State Legislature. There was a lawsuit brought to the Arizona Supreme Court saying the legislature was violating the Arizona State Constitution by charging so much for college tuition. The Arizona State Supreme Court said the legislature gets to determine what is nearly free. And they have determined that $50,000 is nearly free. All right. This is not getting better for you guys. This is not getting better for you guys. America is getting gray. America is getting gray. Baby boomers. Am I a baby boomer? Okay, boomer. Shush. Okay, boomer. Shush. Hold on. What is my phone doing? All right. Here's the baby boom. 46 to 64. I love what happened here. 14 million men came home from serving in the military and said, honey, let's get married and have a baby. So this in a 8-month period of time. And then, so this wave of people, somebody born in 46, how old are they now? So that would be what? That would be 54 plus we're in 2020. So they would be what, 74 years old? So these people, these baby boomers, this wave of baby boomers is going to be hitting right when you guys are in your maximum productive life. People are living longer. Medicare, better health care, lower birth rates. When I was born in 1960, the average woman had 3.6 children. By 2014, it was down to 2.1 women. By the way, for whites, it was 1.9. For minorities, it's over 2 children for women. Back when I was born, there were 5.7 workers per retiree paying for Social Security and Medicare. By 2040, it's going to be 2 workers per retiree. Craziness, huh? All right. By the way, I get a Social Security statement every year, and here's what it says. This is from my Social Security statement. Your estimated benefits are based on current law. Congress has made changes to the law in the past and can do so at any time. The law governing benefit amounts may change because by 2034, the payroll taxes collected from you guys, right? From you guys, will be enough to pay only about 79% of scheduled benefits. So what's going to happen? Oh, by the way, you guys were born in what, 2001, 2002? Do I have that right? You know, this is right in the heart of your productive capacity, right? This is right where you're starting to make the money, make the good money in your 40s. Yeah. Boy. Okay. All right. So, and I have a question on my test on this. In general, turnout in America is what? High or low? High or low? Is this thing still recording? Good. All right. All right. I think. Hold on. Let me make sure this stupid thing is recording. Yep, it's still recording. Okay. Especially in local elections. like for mayor or city council, election, turnout in the teens is good. And if turnout's only in the teens, who is voting? Man, it is only old people. I went on August 4th and I voted in our state primary. I'm going to teach you what the state primary is. When I went in there, guess who's in there? Everybody is what? Everybody is old. That is voting. Everybody is old. All right, so presidential elections, 2008, Obama's first election. We knocked it out of the park at less than 2/3, at 64%. That's low, isn't it? Obama's re-election drops by 10 percentage points. Trump, Clinton, people weren't as enthusiastic. Look at the difference, from 64 to 58%. That's a big chunk of people, right? 2014 midterm. That's when Obama was in between his his re-election and Trump's election. Remember, turnout drops in midterms, 36%. Primaries, we're going to talk about primaries. But remember this, in the presidential preference primaries, only 14% of eligible voters picked either Clinton or Trump to be president of the United States. 2018, the midterm, interesting, very high for a midterm, the highest it's been since 1914. Boy, are voters energized because of the presidency of President Trump, even when he is not on the ballot in a 2018 midterm? All right. AP people, you must know this. Regular government people, you must know this. There's a question on my test. In 1993, the federal government passed, in trying to do what? Increase voter registration. Because if people are registered, they are probably going to vote. Remember that? 9 out of 10 people registered actually voted in 2008. So in 1993, Congress passes a law that says, hey, when you go get your driver's license, also ask people if they want to be registered to vote. Impact, not real big. You guys all got your driver's licenses before you were eligible to vote. So, and look at your driver's license, it lasts for like 25 years, right? Mail-in early ballots, this is the thing that President Trump is all up in arms on. We've had it in Arizona for a long time. In Yavapai County, at least 3/4 of our ballots are sent in by mail. We've been doing it forever. What effect did it have on voter turnout? And the answer is up, significantly up. We have one of the highest voter turnouts in Arizona and Yavapai County in the country because we do mail-in early ballots. Voter registration. This makes me so mad. In Arizona, you have to be registered to vote 29 days before the election. How many people wake up and go, oh, well, it's 2 weeks before the election. Maybe I should register. Well, you know what? Guess what? You're not going to vote. Who does that impact more? Does that impact old white people? Or does that impact young people and minorities? In Montana, you walk in to vote and they're like, you're not registered. Well, come right here to this table and register. Okay, now you're registered. Now come over here and vote. Same day voter registration. Same day is going to do what to turn out? Increase, right? 29 days before is going to put a damper on voter registration. Photo ID. Photo ID, I get this. Most people don't have an issue with people having to show photo ID. One of the problems is the photo ID has to be current. Now, who is not going to have a current, valid driver's license? Well, there's going to be poor minorities in the heart of an inner city, in a slum. Is it going to be old people that aren't driving anymore? I've got 2 neighbors on my street who just, their children took their cars from them. They've had strokes. They don't drive. Are they still voting? You know what? without a valid photo ID, in many states, you cannot. Now, Arizona, if you don't have one, you can bring 2 forms of identification, like a power bill and like a couple bills, and that will work. But, all right, so I put a link to this article in the reference materials. Particularly my AP people, take a look at it. It is a smoking gun that the only states that have passed strict voter ID laws are states that are controlled by Republicans. Other ideas for voter turnout. Our elections are held the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Now, why the heck did they pick Tuesdays? Well, in 1840, Sunday was church and Wednesday was market day, where farmers would come into town with their produce. So they just kind of picked Tuesdays, back when we were in agrarian economy. Does it make sense to still have Tuesdays? What about vote on weekends? Who can't come on Tuesdays? A rich person that's the executive of a company, or somebody that works at McDonald's? If you're working at McDonald's, can you walk in and say, oh, hey boss, I'm going to take off an hour and go vote? Or will you get fired? All right, so, who does it hurt that you have to vote on Tuesdays? Mail-in ballots help with that, but a lot of states don't have it. I think like only 35 states have some form of easy to access mail-in ballots. Vote on weekends. Why not? Why not? Open the polls Friday afternoon, close them Sunday evening. You're going to have a chance to vote on this at some point. Fine for not voting. Interesting. Australia did this. Australia said, hey, we're going to fine you $20 on your income taxes if you don't vote. You know what happened? Voting participation went up. And the other interesting thing went up is voter knowledge went up, because people figured, well, I'm going to vote, I might as well do some research. Interesting. I don't think that'll fly in America, but it worked in Australia. What about this? Voting on the internet. Look, I get it. Hacking, whatever. My entire life, my entire finances are online. I access my bank accounts, my checking account, my savings accounts. There has to be a way to make that secure. Okay, a couple quick notes. Political efficacy. This is going to be in my test. Political efficacy is the belief that you can make a difference by voting. People that have a high political efficacy are going to believe they can make a difference by voting. High political efficacy. And low political efficacy is the belief that you don't make a difference. Who has high political efficacy? Rich people versus people that don't graduate from high school? Remember your voter turnout data. You must know this for my test. All right? All right. And AP, we're going to talk more about this. One of our, when we get into civil rights and civil liberties, but particularly civil rights, we're going to read Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter to a Birmingham jail. But there's other ways to participate. Number one, you can give money. You can protest. What's the difference between protest and civil disobedience? Protesting is constitutionally protected, right? Civil disobedience, you are breaking the law. If you go sit on a freeway, or if you go sit in a segregated lunch counter, are you breaking the law? Yes, you are breaking the law, but you're breaking an unjust law. And then rioting is just tearing everything apart, right? And you have clearly no constitutional right to do this. And this is illegal, so you're going to go to jail to do civil disobedience. All right, okay. Our next class, you guys are going to take an online test to determine whether you are liberal or conservative or libertarian. All right? See you in class. All right, bye.